We're here at the Digital Retail East Assembly in beautiful Miami for a special edition of Millennium Live. I'm lucky enough to be joined by Peter Irikovsky, the CEO and co-founder of Exponea. Peter, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, welcome.
So let's just jump straight in. In your own words, what does Exponea do and how does it add value?
So Exponea is a unique combination of a customer data platform and omnichannel orchestration. And this unique combination enables companies very easily turn data into money. And that's something that is very unique because most companies either do the CDP and then it's trouble to get the money from the insights, or are working with campaigns that are then blindly shooting at different people, which creates a really bad customer experience. So the main value add is we enable companies to create great customer experiences that foster loyalty, which leads into long-term growth.
Fantastic. Where does your passion, for the marketing world come from? Has it been in, your bloodstream all your life, or did you have a certain experience that triggered your passion?
So I always want to be an entrepreneur, but the passion for customer and treating customers really in a personalized way came from the bad experience at Groupon, which was completely the opposite. And then when I came to Slevomat, which was extremely customer-oriented culture, I really found it fascinating. And I promised to myself that I would always put the customer at the forefront of whatever I do.
That's fantastic. So Exponea is now the #1 ranked customer data platform. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you think was the key to achieving this?
So we always have a simple answer. We are much more than a CDP. And because of that, we are able to bridge the gap from just getting the data into one place to showing and proving the value. So we're very focused on achieving ROI. We have clients, even big clients, that achieve like 40x ROI, which results in great ratings from the customers.
Yeah. And according to the SaaS 1000 and the LACA 100, Exponea was the second fastest growing SaaS company in the world. Doesn't such growth force you to compromise on customer experience?
So, we preach growth through loyalty in B2C, and we aim to always do it also in B2B. In our whole existence, we only lost one customer, which is in online retail above 20 million in revenue. And even when we lost that customer, 2 employees of that customer quit and said that if they cannot work with Exponea, they will not work for that company. So I really believe that we have relentless focus on making our customers really happy. And I believe we managed to also achieve it during this growth.
And I'm sure your passion and relentless strive in your company for the customer actually leads into your clients as well and their customers.
Yes, and so we really aim to be, from our perspective, I have 2 really big important things. So in our values, the #1 value is integrity. So I always ask customers whether there was a difference in terms of what was promised to them and what was the expectation created during the sales part and what's the reality. And I really focus on making sure that it's a solid line. We aim to have customers for decades. And if there's like any discrepancy, basically the relationship from the beginning is not built on full trust, and then it cannot sustain for decades. And then the second thing is, our main thing that we talk about in the company is delivering customer love. So we really want customers to have an emotional connection to us. So we want to be a partner, not just a software vendor for them.
That's fantastic. So how does Exponea protect all the customer data you work with, and what security measures do you have in place?
So we see security as a critical thing. When you look at customer data platforms, it's about getting all the data about your customers into one place. What more important data any company has? There's nothing. And so we were actually the first GDPR certified SaaS company in the world. And we really push forward on everything. We have multiple layers of encryption. So we protect your data not just against hackers, but also against Google, where we have our servers. We have a lot of measures in terms of physical security. We have a central console that monitors all of our employees' computers in real time, and so we know what is the vulnerability on that. And we actually even aim to go further. So we're now working on an advanced SCM solution that would enable you to, in real time, know what's happening with your data at any point, and with that, go even further than this. We also have multiple ISO and other certificates, and we see this as a must-have. The California Act of Privacy that's coming out is again like a huge thing, because companies will pay a fine regardless whether there's any damage to a consumer. And so with that, one leak of data can be absolutely, that can be the end of a company.
So there's obviously a ton of change occurring in the marketing world every day. What are the major focuses in your mind driving change today?
We see a lot of things. But one of the most important things that is happening in the market is that the time of explosive growth of e-commerce is gone, because everyone who wanted to shop online is online, and people who are not able to shop online are actually dying because the market is already saturated, and so the expectations of double-digit growth of e-commerce is unrealistic, and hence companies that want to grow further have to switch the paradigm from just acquiring new customers to looking at growth through loyalty. And we see that as a very positive trend, because that means that companies really need to focus on customer experience. And in here, when we were discussing with the guests, you could see that that's a priority for many becoming a priority for many marketers. And they have a big challenge in how to convince the leadership teams that this is actually something necessary. There are companies that are already on this path and are growing tremendously. Then there are others that are struggling and are just getting on that path.
And Forrest was just talking about it last week. The e-commerce stores now realizing they need the brick and mortar stores.
Yeah, so the customer wants to shop in his or her preferred way, in her preferred time, and so you have to adjust to what the consumer wants. You cannot just try to expect that you put a website on and people would come and find it and would shop.
Yeah. So yesterday you delivered a fantastic keynote presentation about retention and the customer loyalty challenge. Your enthusiasm and passion for customers is clear. In your opinion, what is the biggest challenge facing the industry with their customer loyalty programs?
So the main trouble that I see is that most customer loyalty programs are about paying consumers for their loyalty, which is actually the opposite of loyalty. If I ask you for a favor, you do something for me, whatever, you bring something for me, and I give you $10, how do you feel?
Pretty happy.
Now imagine that you do this as a friend, and you do this repeatedly. Basically, the relationship changes from emotional to transactional. And what we encourage companies to think is, how do you become really connected with the consumer? So one of the ideas that you see is, at the end of the year, when you shopped with a company, you, instead of getting a voucher for $10, $20 for your next purchase, imagine that they would tell you, as a fashion company, and they say, okay, you bought 5 suits from us, we will plant 3 trees to make up for the environmental impact for you, and we'll send you the picture. That creates a completely different connection. Yep. Also the same, whenever you have an issue, if they solve that issue in a completely human way, admit that there was a screw up, and have a communication around that, those things are the moments that create loyalty. Paying you something isn't going to make it.
Very good point. So we're thrilled you and the Exponea team have joined us here at Digital Retail East in Miami. You've been in and out of sessions. You obviously your keynote yesterday. What has you and your team gained from being at the assembly? And also, what is your biggest takeaway so far?
Mm-hmm. So I was very positively pleased with the event. It's full of really high caliber people, and people are very engaged, very responsive. So so far, very positive experience. So thank you for that. And in terms of takeaways, I would see that there's a big hunger from all the attendees to make a step change, and that's a very positive thing. And I see that people are looking at it not just from the technological view, but are asking for advice. How do they ensure that they get the buy-in from the leadership? How do they drive the change? Which for me is very positive, because it's not just about changing the mindset. I see that many of the US companies have the right thinking and are just looking for ways how to execute, which is for us very positive.
You're going to need the crystal ball for this one. What will the marketing and consumer landscape look like in 5 years, and how does Exponea fit into that vision?
Mm-hmm. So in 5 years, the predictions say that the growth of the e-commerce market in the US should be below 5%.
Okay.
Can you imagine? So like after, when you look 10 years back, most companies were growing 20, 30, 50, sometimes even 100%. And now the overall market is supposed to only grow less than 5%. So we see that many companies will, during these next 5 years, realize that the world has changed dramatically and they will need to adjust. And they would really need to focus on making sure that all the consumers that shop with them are customers that enjoy that experience and want to shop again, and would be also looking for ways how to gain more share of their mind and share of wallet, and with that increase the customer lifetime value. So I believe that the consumers would strongly benefit from this, and for the companies that wouldn't be able to adapt, this would have massively bad consequences.
Interesting. So, as a CEO of a global company, what is your number one tip for the C-suite executives in US companies as they look ahead to 2020?
I would say it's simple. It's as simple as putting the customer on the forefront of whatever you do. We had a great discussion yesterday about how Nike was able to do this. It's about really understanding the consumer, being at the places where they are, and seeing the world through their eyes. I'm always amazed how many companies are making like really fundamental mistakes in the customer experience and don't even know about that. And by understanding the customer, asking how they feel during the shopping experience, and really understanding the entire chain, those insights will drive the strategy and will drive the future growth of the companies.
Fantastic. Well, Peter, thank you for you and your team, everything you do in the industry. Thank you for joining us here at the Assembly.
Thank you, Nick. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.